POV, you're 20 years old. It's only 11 a.m. You've already made $4,000 today.
Damn. Hey, 5 minutes. Look where we at. Let me just talk my shit real quick. I done made over $1.7 million. I bought a track car at AMG. I bought my dad a house, my mama a house. I bought myself a pay house and a rental property, and I ain't even graduated high school yet.
I made over $120,000 last month using this exact business model.
Young entrepreneurs have glamorized the role of the founder. When you hop online, you would think that owning a business or having motion was almost second nature for anyone under 30. Everywhere you look, 20-somethings are flaunting seven-figure businesses, luxury lifestyles, and financial freedom they supposedly built in months, not years. It honestly makes you question, are you doing enough? This is way deeper than the hustle culture narrative that was pushed a few years back.
I just want to say hustle culture is going to be the downfall of this generation because there is no reason why I should have to work 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 different jobs to provide one roof over my head.
Today's glamorization of being wealthy young and becoming an entrepreneur has created something more insidious. Unrealistic expectations tied directly to your self-worth.
52% of high school seniors believe that they will be a millionaire by 25. You are sadly mistaken. It's delusion. Like, that's what it is. It's delusion.
So according to the young millionaires, status is a measuring stick. If you're not a millionaire by 25, then you are basically broke as fuck with no ambition. Now, the sad part is that a majority of these money-making online gurus leave impressions on young adults that the road to wealth is easy. You just need to know how to navigate it, and conveniently, they have the map. That's when the course pop-up window appears asking for thousands of dollars to get the sauce, which is their secret formula in an already saturated market. That's why they're selling it to you. Unfortunately, when you are young and impressionable, you aren't aware of what's happening underneath the surface level. And it honestly reminds me of a great tweet that Naval just posted recently saying that nobody who's actually good at making money needs to sell you a course on it. And then someone replied, this needs to be said. If they're selling money-making product ideas to you, then you are the product, not the success story. So then what is really happening here? These money-making influencers are strategically targeting wantrepreneurs, beginners who have no clue where to go but are desperately interested in leveling up their lives. Like everybody is, right? But unfortunately, these beginners hop online, watch surface level content that is designed to hook them emotionally, and end up purchasing courses from their favorite creator, promising rags to riches in record time. I know this because generally speaking, we were all at that stage once or are there currently, right? The beginner stage, level 1, the prologue, whatever you want to call it, everyone had to start somewhere. The rich and successful feed off of your most vulnerable state, and you as the beginner feed into it because you've bought into the lifestyle they're selling rather than understanding the actual path to results. You are sold on success, not the path to it. Now, that obviously does not have a high success rate, right? Entrepreneurs are already addicted to success through constant dopamine hits on social media. So their concept of what it takes to become successful is already distorted. So then that obviously begs the question, how does a young person or entrepreneur navigate the entrepreneurial journey? How do we find our way to the North Star without falling into the info product bubble? What skills can we develop to succeed over the next decade? These are all questions that I used to ask myself, and I aim to answer those questions in this very video. Now, before we jump in, you know I gotta ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. The regular YouTube bullshit, but hey, without further ado, we're just gonna jump right into it. So first of all, we need to understand a few things, right? We need to understand the illusion that is being brought to us. The economy in 2025, especially in the States, is putting a ton of pressure on young adults and folks that are not content with what they are currently doing. Right now in the US, we have a ton of issues. Inflation, the rise of AI and the impact on the job market, the uncertainty around school and post-grad education, especially when it comes to if you want to fork over all that money or not. Climbing the job ladder has also become harder in today's world. The rising cost of living, housing, rental market. I mean, honestly, the list goes on and on, right? There's a bunch of issues in society nowadays. This is all happening while every time you open up your phone, you see someone the same age as you bouncing out of a lamb truck due to success online. This is, of course, to paint the picture that the creator is above you and inadequate. And I'm not referring to the regular entertainers online, but more the people that are trying to shill you products, the ones that are doing that to flex on you so that you think or imagine yourself in their shoes and want their life, right? They're selling you on that. Those are the ones I'm talking about. Realize that these successful creators are doing nothing more than creating the illusion that they are the North Star. They aim to appear as the version of you that worked hard and made yourself into something. So naturally, you're going to follow all their advice, eat up their content, and constantly compare your situation to theirs. And this reminds me of a great quote from the book Flow. When people start believing that progress is inevitable and life easy, they may quickly lose courage and determination in the face of first signs of adversity. And that theme is going to continue to pop up throughout this video, but this is good to keep in the back of your mind as we run through some things. So here's what's actually happening, right? Comparison has become the ultimate thief not just of joy, but of originality and authentic growth. So when you constantly measure yourself against someone else's highlight reel, two dangerous things can happen. First, you start judging your behind the scenes reality against their carefully curated moments. So your everyday life, you're taking that and then you're comparing it to what you see on your phone or what you see online, what you see on these YouTube videos and saying, why is that not me, right? Secondly, you begin mimicking their path instead of creating your own. So when you're doing that, when you're reflecting at the end of the day, like, why does my life look so different from theirs? The wheels start turning in your mind. You're like, well, I got to just start copying whatever they did to come up. And conveniently, the thing that they did come up, they're selling to you as some kind of course or some kind of ebook, right? Some kind of whatever it is, some magic sauce that will get you from where you're at right now in your current life to where they are. Now, I want you to look at how this plays out in real time. Let's say you want to start a side hustle along your day job. You see someone doing drop shipping or selling digital products online. They're all using the same marketing tactics, the same Instagram aesthetics, the same fonts, the same logic, the same everything, right? Your desire to achieve their lifestyle leads you to become a follower rather than a creator. So because you bought so much into their success online or so much of their lifestyle online, you deem them as the North Star and you want to copy and replicate everything that they've done. So now when you get to doing what you thought was the right thing to do by copying and mimicking them, now you look like nothing more than the other hundreds and thousands of people that are all doing the same exact thing. And that's why your content or that's why your project or your vision is not playing out, because it's just copy and pasted from everything you've seen online, right? You have no way to differentiate yourself in the market because you're holding other people's success standard or successful life as the standard. So it's all just a big game. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. The constant comparison is destroying your ability to think originally. You start believing that there's only one path to success and it's their path. And when your results don't match theirs in the time frame that they claim, you don't question their timeline, you question your worth. So you start thinking that, damn, if I can't get this to work, then it must be something I'm doing. I must be Basuda, I must be Cheeks, right? When in reality, everybody is on their own time frame. So now this creates a perfect storm where your brain is simultaneously processing real economic pressure, so things from reality that's really going on, inflation, housing, and all that, and then fabricated social pressure from these gurus that you aspire to be because they're doing so well. Why aren't you? While you're struggling with inflation and housing costs, your feeds are showcasing you supposed peers living their dream lives after just 6 months of hard work. I know everybody has seen those. Lock in for 6 months and you'll be drastically different. The psychological gap between these realities is where your anxiety, doubt, and vulnerability live. And these creators with millions of followers, they know this. They understand that if they have what you want, you'll do almost anything they say to achieve it. They can claim, I built this 7-figure company and it was easy, knowing full well you'll believe it and buy their course to replicate their results. We talked a little bit about this earlier, right? You are the product when people are trying to sell you money-making ideas. And this is a little cliche, I understand it, but it really is true. Don't believe everything you hear online, right? Having a million followers doesn't make someone correct. It often just means they've been consistently creating content for a very long time. And that has naturally built up authority over the years. So hear this part out. Success online is less about revolutionary ideas and more about doing very boring things repeatedly for a long time. So all in all, right, the comparison trap doesn't make you miserable. It makes you predictable. And that's why you cannot stand out in the things that you are trying to accomplish. It makes you an easy target for those selling the illusions of quick success. And worst of all, it disconnects you from the authentic journey you actually need to take in order to sustain growth. So before we even get into the solutions of all this, right, before I even give you how to fix this, let's acknowledge something crucial. Your path will never look exactly like theirs or exactly like mine, or exactly like your brothers and sisters or your family or whoever it is you're looking up to, right? Your path will never look exactly like that. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because authentic success isn't a carbon copy of someone else's journey. In case you need more, take a look at this video.
Don't look at nobody else.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Comparison is thief of joy, yes.
Stop comparing yourself to people around you, whatever you see on the internet, because everybody gets to their destination at different parts of their life.
Do not compare your success to people you see on the internet, bro, because I'm telling you, it'll drive you crazy, bro.
Don't think because somebody else has something that's your same age that you need it.
As long as you know what I'm saying, focusing on your own life, bro, you straight, bro. Don't compare your life to nobody else.
Everybody time gonna come.
Stop letting people make you feel bad about like where you are in life.
So now that we understand how comparison is hijacking our potential, let's talk about creating our own authentic journey. So instead of searching the internet for some secret sauce that probably 99% of the time does not exist, we need to create our own. This isn't about finding the perfect course or strategy. It's about building something that is uniquely yours. Now there's this thing called the growth mindset, right? And this is based on Carl Dweck's research, which supports continuous improvement and learning from failures, which in the grand scheme of things is essential in refining one's approach and achieving success. It's about embracing the idea that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, right? Brains and talent are just the starting point with the growth mindset. And the reason why I love this is because the mindset directly counters the comparison trap we just discussed. Instead of measuring yourself against others, you measure yourself against your previous self. And many of these products and guarantees offer tips for success, but they often feel random and don't show you how to truly become successful. They're selling the destination without mapping the journey. They'll show you the penthouse, but not the stairs you'll need to get there. And honestly, I can't blame them entirely because there are so many problems and micro hiccups that come throughout the process. There is no one size fits all solution. What worked for them won't work exactly the same for you, right? Not because you're doing something wrong, but because circumstances, timing, individual strengths all vary from human to human. And MJ DeMarco talked a little bit about this in the Millionaire Fastlane, where he says, to seek a wealth chauffeur is to seek a surrogate for process. Process cannot be outsourced because process dons wisdom, personal growth, strength, and ultimately events. So in order to fix this and get up to speed, you have to fail fast. You need to just jump in and get started, right? This approach is the exact opposite of passively consuming more content in hopes of finding the magical shortcut. It's about creating more rather than consuming. Now, I already know some people watching this is thinking like, okay, that sounds cool, but like, get started on what? Now, again, bro, I said this in a previous video. I'm gonna say it again. This is where you gotta strap up them boots, pull your pants up, and figure it out on your own, right? Again, I'm going to try to give you some advice on what to start. It comes down to you. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to what you want to do and what you want to achieve and what your true overall encompassing vision is. That will all lead you to what you need to get started on. And majority of people know what they need to get started on. They just refuse to do so because it gets them uncomfortable. And you have to get used to being uncomfortable to succeed. That's it, period, point blank. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm going to try to give some basic advice to encompass a lot of people. But again, your process is going to be individualized. So the term getting started, right, usually involves some kind of goal, project, or vision you are trying to bring forward to reality. This could be literally anything: losing weight, publishing content. It could be financial goals, saving money, paying off debt, something like that, right? You just want to focus on something that is causing a pain point in your life and work towards the solution of that pain point. This ties directly back into our discussion of authenticity, right? Your journey needs to start with your actual problems, not someone else's manufactured solution to a problem they think you have. Now, if that wasn't enough and you still don't know what project, goal, or vision you should be working on, then check out my last video, Starting a Business from Nothing. It might help you a little bit. So what is the benefit to working towards a project, goal, or vision, right? Well, when you focus all your energy into creating through your project or goal, this will then allow you to solve a bunch of problems that are just slightly too hard for you to solve currently. This area, right, the area that forces you to operate outside of your comfort zone, is what truly improves you. It's where growth actually happens, not in the comfort of watching another success story, but when you actually get up and do things and solve little micro problems all the way up to the big problem that you set out to achieve in the first place. And another thing that I'm starting to realize too is that it's not that people don't want to grow or get better in areas, right? Everybody wants to do that. It's just that they lack the accountability to do so. And this is exactly why those quick fix solutions are so appealing to folks. They promise results without the discomfort of sustained effort and accountability. So one thing I need y'all to understand is half of life is discipline, doing things even when you don't want to do it. But realize that the more accountability there is in relation to the things you don't want to do, the easier it is to have discipline. So what do I mean by that? For example, you'll wake that ass up every day to go clock in so you can go pay your bills, right? There's clear accountability there. Don't show up, you don't get paid, and then you can't pay rent. It's pretty simple. But now if I told your ass to wake up at 5 a.m. and write a 3,000 word newsletter that will prepare you into the life that you want, you probably wouldn't do it. And if you did, it probably wouldn't be for as long as you would need to do it in order to see some success. The accountability is less immediate, right? The payoff is less certain, so you're less likely to do it. So it's not that y'all lack discipline, because you can get up and wake up and go to work, or do what your mom and dad told you to do, or wash them dishes because your partner asked, right? Someone else is holding you accountable. You just can't hold yourself accountable. You can't see to the end of the path because it's not something physical or even viewable to that extent. So what happens is you just start, do it for a little bit, and then you give up. And that, my friends, is instant gratification, right? Instant gratification is dooming you. And here's a great picture of the cycle of instant gratification, right? So every time you have to deal with a difficult task, you have a trigger in your mind and it's urging you to avoid that task entirely. Then you just jump to a pleasurable activity because dopamine hits are never ending in society now, right? Where you watch Netflix, scroll through social media, whatever it is to take your mind off of what you should actually be doing. And then your brain releases dopamine and encourages you to opt out for the pleasurable activity next time. So you don't even start the process the next time. This is the cycle of instant gratification. This is what is dooming us people that have high ambition or feel like we're ambitious or feel like we're just lazy. But in reality, it's not that. It's just instant gratification. It's the cycle of it. It's trying to do things knowing that you're meant for more, trying to figure it out. But as soon as some shit hits you and as soon as shit gets hard, you just decide to, all right, let me just pop on TikTok real quick. Let me just pop on Instagram. Fuck it. All these things can be seen as distractions, especially when you do it, when you run away from something that you really should be doing, whether it's studying, working towards that goal, project, or vision, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is that you're trying to hold yourself accountable for. So just be careful of this cycle of instant gratification because it beats folks over the head. But I want you to realize too that this goes back to why being on the entrepreneur level is so hard, right? Level 0. You're searching endlessly for some secret level up that will propel you to the North Star. Meanwhile, those flashy success stories that you're comparing yourself to are just the result of people who stuck with the boring, consistent action long enough for compound results to kick in. They delayed gratification, right? The inverse of instant gratification. And delayed gratification is the ability to resist the temptation of an immediate reward in favor of a more valuable and long-lasting reward. It involves foregoing a smaller immediate pleasure to achieve a larger, more enduring benefit in the future. So I hope you understand that, right? Because a lot of people, they seem to be chasing the outcome, right? When I'd much rather focus on getting attainable skills or working towards a high income skill. Now, the reasons why I like skills so much is because no matter what happens, whether you meet the goal or not, whether your project becomes successful or not, these skills that you learn along the way can be carried with you forever. Unlike the temporary dopamine hit that you get from buying another course, skills appreciate in value over time. Now, I understand that this begs the question of what skills then, right? You see that question all the time on social media. Like someone will ask online, if you only got $1,000, what should I do? And the online guru responds, well, I just invest in more skills. But like rarely do they ever specify which ones or why. So here's the breakdown of skills that I think are high leverage and that can stand the test of time. So you might as well just invest in it and get better at them, right? But obviously there's going to be more that you can add to this list. You could probably take some away too, right? These are just my personal ones that I'm working towards every week. You can use this as a jumping off point and then add your own. So number 1, right? Writing. Everything stems from writing. This is going to force you to clarify your own thinking rather than regurgitating someone else's information. Then I have teaching others. Understand something enough to relay it to someone who doesn't. This is going to deepen your understanding beyond just surface level knowledge. Then I have speech, being able to talk and weave ideas cohesively. This helps you articulate your unique perspective rather than parroting everyone else or everything that you hear online. Financial literacy, right? This is everything, right? Create a budget and stick to it so you can save some money. This gives you control over your resources instead of spending them on these promised shortcuts or just bullshit that does not matter. And then the last one I have is sales and copywriting, right? Which I am personally really trying to get better at this year. And it's a good idea to know because this is how you get money in exchange for something valuable. This is going to teach you how value is actually created and exchanged between people. So these are foundational elements, right? That if you give it time, you can nurture and grow them. These things are also great pain points to start a business from. So let's say you master financial literacy, right? Congratulations. You now have a business. Educate folks on how to get better at doing finances when they have no clue where to start. You were there at one point, so just get people from point A to point B. So basically that's the sauce. There's no secret formula, but developing skills that deliver actual value to others. You develop a skill, then another one until your unique skill set positions you as a thought leader in whatever those skills support. Iman Gadzi, Alex Hormazi, Daya, Gary Economics, The Wizard Liz, Dan Coe, right? The list goes on and on. These are just examples of people that have a culmination of high leverage skills that when combined into content has allowed them to not only make a ton of money, but provide genuine value. They didn't get there by following someone else's exact path, but they built their own skill by skill. So in my opinion, start the agency, do digital marketing, create websites for people, create content, mow lawns, take internships. I don't really give a fuck, right? These things will propel you by giving you transferable skills. That's the part that I care about. When it's your turn to win, these skills will all combine together and give you that competitive advantage needed. Yes, I agree, right? For some, it may not be as long, right? That's just luck. You feel me? Just set out on your vision and let the pieces fall where they may. By focusing on skill development rather than outcome chasing, you're playing a completely different game entirely. One where you win regardless of how quickly the external markers of success appear. So do not get trapped into success addiction. Your time will come. You just need to build these building blocks in order to be able to achieve something in the long run. There is no shortcuts, unfortunately, right? We all want a shortcut, but trust, if you actually put the work in and you leave things to enough time, something will shake, right? Something will happen for you. Just make sure that you have a good foundation beneath you, whether it be a job, whether it be savings, and just make sure on the daily you're taking little steps to achieving your goal or finish that project or live the vision that you've always wanted, right? And with that, that's all for me this week. If you want me to cover a specific topic in the comments, please let me know. Subscribe to my newsletter. It's in the description, and I'm gonna see y'all next week.